Welcome to Ancient Wars. Taiwan is not just an island. It is the most dangerous geopolitical flashpoint on Earth. China calls it unfinished civil war. The United States calls it strategic stability. The world calls it the center of the semiconductor universe. If war breaks out in the Taiwan Strait, it would not remain regional. It could pool in nuclear powers, collapse global markets, and redefine world order. This is the full story of the Taiwan crisis. Its origins, military realities, global consequences, and the terrifying scenarios that could trigger World War III. In the Western Pacific, 100 miles from mainland China, lies an island at the center of a global storm. Taiwan, a democracy of 23 million people, a technological powerhouse, and possibly the spark of the next Great War. China says reunification is inevitable. The United States says stability must be preserved. But history shows us something dangerous. When rising powers challenge existing powers, conflict becomes more likely. The Taiwan Strait is not just a regional dispute. It is a test of the 21st century balance of power. The story begins in 1949. After years of brutal civil war, communist forces led by Mao Zedong defeated the nationalist government. The defeated leadership fled to Taiwan. On October 1st, 1949, Mao declared the founding of the People's Republic of China. But the war never technically ended. Two governments, both claiming to represent China. For decades, Taiwan was authoritarian, but over time, it transformed into one of Asia's strongest democracies. Beijing never abandoned its claim. And today, under Xi Jinping, reunification is framed as a historical mission. Xi has stated that the Taiwan issue cannot be passed down from generation to generation. That is not casual rhetoric. It is strategic signaling. The United States shifted diplomatic recognition to Beijing in 1979. But Congress passed the Taiwan Relations Act. This law does not promise direct military intervention, but it obligates the U.S. to provide defensive arms. This created a doctrine known as strategic ambiguity. The idea is simple. Do not guarantee defense to avoid provoking China. Do not rule it out to deter invasion for decades. This fragile balance worked. But today, the military balance is shifting. In the 1990s, China's military lagged far behind the United States. That is no longer true. Over the past 25 years, China has built the world's largest navy by ship count, developed advanced anti-ship ballistic missiles, deployed hypersonic weapons, expanded cyber and space warfare capabilities. Military drills now routinely encircle Taiwan. Aircraft cross the median line of the Taiwan Strait. Simulated blockades are practiced. An amphibious invasion would be one of the most complex operations in modern history. But China is studying it carefully. Taiwan produces over 60% of the world's advanced semiconductors. These chips power U.S. fighter jets, smartphones, AI systems, global financial infrastructure. If Taiwan's chip production stops, global markets could collapse. Supply chains would fracture. Inflation would spike. This is not just about territory. It is about technological dominance. Military analysts outline several possible paths: full amphibious invasion, high risk, massive casualties, global reaction likely, naval blockade strangle Taiwan economically without immediate land assault, missile shock campaign precision strikes to force political surrender, gray zone warfare, cyber attacks, political pressure, gradual destabilization. Each option carries enormous risk, especially if the United States intervene. China is expanding its nuclear arsenal. The United States maintains extended deterrence commitments. If escalation spirals out of control, two nuclear powers could face direct confrontation. Even if neither side wants war, miscalculation can create it. History is filled with wars no one intended to start. Japan hosts US forces. South Korea sits within missile range of North Korea. Australia strengthens Indo-Pacific ties. A Taiwan conflict would not remain isolated. It could fracture NATO unity, test US credibility, redefine global alliances. When a rising power threatens to displace a ruling power, war often follows. This dynamic is sometimes called the Thucydides trap. The question is not whether Taiwan matters. It does. The question is whether leaders on all sides can manage ambition, pride, fear, and miscalculation. The 20th century began with a regional crisis in Europe. It ended in World War. The 21st century may hinge on an island in the Pacific. The Taiwan Strait is quiet tonight. Ships move. Jets patrol. Satellites watch. The world hopes deterrence holds. Because if it fails, history will not repeat itself. It will escalate. Because understanding history is the first step to surviving it. If you want serious, strategic analysis of the conflicts shaping our future, subscribe to Ancient Wars.